My lovely YouTubers, I'm back with our 11 signs of sincere friendship. The part 2, which I actually already uploaded last week. I was looking to update it, and again, I've just been delayed by several days of not such great weather. As you see, we don't have the sun shining brightly today, but we're not worried. We have a candle here. We have our poinsettia still from Christmas, which might actually hold all year, a friend of mine said, a true friend of mine, and yellow tulips, which are already they're already a week old, so already wilting a slight bit, but you do notice the heads are pointing kind of towards each other and a little bit in a circle that's counterclockwise. The circle points kind of counterclockwise. I just think that's really nice. And I have a basil plant, an organic basil, which they say has been in use for many centuries, actually, to welcome in the good spirits and to discourage the other ones. And here again, our lapis lazuli, the stone, which is also well known from ancient days to usher in the friendly spirits, and it signifies, with the deep blue color, signifies faithfulness, truthfulness, fidelity, all of that. I think it's still not so easily visible, but it does have the little white spots in it, which does point out a true lapis lazuli stone. Okay, so I'm going to continue with point 6 to 11. It's point 6, we were saying, is when you have your friendship, familyship, relationship, where you, let's say, come up with a new idea, or you've recently come up with a plan, some new project, something might be even adventurous, something the two of you had never thought of before together, and you just suggest it to them for the first time, and you kind of hope, or you expect from a real friend, that they would greet your plans with, or your suggestion with a bit of enthusiasm, like welcoming your idea, at least the energy that you put into it. This is sort of a point where we can kind of discern, does this person really wish well on us or not? And a lot of times you will find, even in a familyship is, of course, a relationship between two family members. I coined that word myself in the last video, part 1, which I really like actually using, because it denotes something different from relationship, the way we all understand it, and it kind of also puts your relationship with your family on the same level as relationships with other friends, which I think needs to be done more often, so that we can discern whether they're sincere or not, because they should be tested according to the same criteria. So yeah, if it's a truly sincere family member or friend, then they should show some kind of encouragement for you. Of course, if it's an idea that's too risky, that's not where they think it's really not good for you, they genuinely think it's not good for you, then they should say that, but a lot of times you'll find there's jealousy involved, there's a little bit of resentment involved. They didn't think of it first, or even they didn't think of doing it with you. The two of you didn't come up with it. Maybe it was you and a third party who came, and a third party who came up with it. And then you go back, to this family member, this friend, and they're thinking, gosh, gee, I don't mind the fact that she's come up with this, but I don't like the fact that she now wants to do this with someone else and not with me. All this kind of stuff is really very, very jealous, and it does not show true feelings for the other person. And you'll notice it actually often right away. A lot of people will be very discouraging within seconds after you coming up with with your idea, they'll have like they'll have some reason why it can't work. They'll have some kind of a regulation or a rule to put on you, or they'll pretend to know that there's some regulation that would prevent it even, which takes it to a whole new level, which is kind of like, are you absolutely, you're not allowed, kind of, um, that's different from just saying I don't like it. So these people, they really show that they do have some form of innate jealousy, hiding underneath the surface. And that's what you'll find a lot, I find. Yeah, and it really is, the testing point is really, I mean, the litmus test is really the fact that if it were their idea, how would they have reacted, and would they have considered the same impediments, like, because there could be impediments for almost anything out there. On the other hand, you can always find a different way to do it, and new ideas are usually a positive thing. It's usually, change is very often positive. In fact, change is inevitable. Change should be always welcomed. For that reason, we really should always expect an encouraging answer, an encouraging kind of attitude towards our new plans, and especially from a person who we trust and who we want to entrust our ideas to. And yeah, all you have to do is test it, according to their standards, how they feel about their new ideas. The same person, if they come to you with something, or if they, think of something themselves and they come to you with it, what they expect you to then to say, and how they react to the way you would react, to their plans, because it's all about treating others the way we treat ourselves. So as long as they're working along that principle, then you can say, okay, this is still sincere. So number 7, this point is very beautiful, actually. It's about speaking in a manner that's uplifting in words and spreading positivity. And it's when the two of you are together, someone who you consider your good friend, or a friendly family member, a family ship, let's say. The two of you are talking about other people, third parties, and is it mostly positive, or let's say even, is it always positive, or is it very often negative? Is there a lot of gossip involved? Because this is an important point. This will change, how you react, and how you're, how you develop yourself. And a person should be uplifting. They should be encouraging you. They should be having a good influence on you. Oftentimes, if you find that you were gossiping with someone you thought was your friend about someone else who was possibly also your friend, you might even be kind of disappointed in yourself afterwards. You might say, gosh, I can't believe, that I said that, and that I also let this other friend, speak badly about that other person. You'll often feel bad about it. Well, first of all, it's a good sign if you feel bad about it afterwards. And second of all, don't beat yourself up about it too much, because oftentimes it really is your partner in crime, let's say, your conversational partner there, who you thought was your friend, who is actually sending out these vibrations of gossip, and they're affecting you in that way negatively. And a lot of times they are the ones who are taking the initiative, and putting out these negative vibes, and they cause you to open up and say something about this third person, which you never dreamt of wanting, never had any intention of wanting to say. So first of all, don't worry too much, because it's better if you recognize it for what it is, for something that's not good. And that's great already if you recognize it. And second point is, it's probably more the fault, and I'm putting that in, in brackets, it's more the fault of the person who we were talking to a lot of times. So that's the That's the bad influence of someone you thought was your friend, you know. So I like to watch out for that because it can be hidden. It can be kind of undercover. You might not really know what's going on with a lot of people, and it tells you a lot about those people. Now, they might still be good people, you know, but they have that very negative characteristic that they really need to work on as well. And it's something that should be addressed, I think, between good friends for sure. Okay, so that was point 7, and now we come to 8. Okay, so this is about, let's say, this is about the general picture that your friend has of yourself or your family member. Okay, so in a family ship, especially if it's a parent, you know, with a child, the parents should definitely have an utterly positive picture of their own child, and it should be obvious, you know. They should exude that feeling of, you know, confidence that this child can do the things that it wants to do, that it can, you know, that it's able, and that it's good at what it does, and you know, the whole bit. But if you find the other case, the opposite case happening, where you have pretty clear indications that one person, let's say in that case, like the parent, let's just stick with that, or an older sibling or whatever, has a strikingly negative picture of this, of yourself, you know, if you're the younger sibling, the child, whatever, you know, a strikingly negative picture of the other, then there's something seriously wrong, right? Because first of all, we all should have a positive idea of ourselves, and we should share that with others. We should project that positivity onto others. That's what true friendship is, right? To love ourselves and then love others as ourselves. If it's a family member, or it's supposed to be a real friend, then this is even more important, because it's not just a neighbor or anyone out there. This is somebody who is really influenced by you. So their idea of you is going to influence you. You know, so be very careful with people who make some kind of side remarks where it becomes obvious to anyone listening that they do not think very highly of you, or, you know, or of the other person, or vice versa, you know. This is really damaging, I think, in family ships especially, you know, because they're kind of in close vicinity, and it's difficult to get away. And this can also be quite hidden for many years. They might actually try and pull you down to their level. In many cases, family ships, they'll try to use, you know, genetics, and say, oh, you have this, whatever, you know, from that person, because of course in the family, people think to know all about, you know, the genes of whatever, you know, whoever, coming from whomever else. And excuse me, my throat is a bit dry. And it's actually a bunch of nonsense, because it's been proven scientifically that genetics actually do change over time, and that there are many other influences that affect genetic factors, and it's definitely extremely damaging to the development of an individual to have a relationship, a friendship, a familyship going on with someone who is hell-bent on projecting faults and shortcomings onto someone else in their own family, or in the friendship works as well, you know. And sometimes it'll be even like a sickness, something like some kind of a health issue or whatever that someone else had in the family, you know. And some people do try and assume, they subtly like try to assume that someone else might have it as well. You'll notice if you study families, I did family psychology for a while, that this is quite typical actually for some parents to feel like they have this like drive, they have this need to put their own illnesses onto some child. You know, it doesn't matter which one really. They have to put it onto someone, and then they feel kind of relieved of that disease if they can put it onto someone else. It's almost like they feel power in that they can kind of like lay it onto some child, and since the child is more vulnerable, this often happens for over a long period of time. So we should watch out for that, and we should be careful to stay around people who have a more positive picture of ourselves. Like we said at the beginning, we should love ourselves and then others, you know, up until that degree, you know, and not the other way around. So, you know, if other people lift us up, which is what parents especially should do with their children, they should be lifting you up. That's good and all well and fine. If they push you down instead of lifting you up, then you know that's the time to run, because they are not sincere. You know, there's not